I'm glad to start today this podcast, the Business Snipers podcast. If you are coming in this live and this is one topic that you like it, just share with your friends and they will be glad to participate. So we just stay very calm and comfortable. That's common. So I'll introduce the DP Snipers podcast. I start to think to create something to translate to people the experience of the other persons that come in this podcast in a way, in a good way and easy way to learn more. This topic, we're gonna talk about risk management in the offshore industry. And I'm bringing today a very special guest, Kyle Eddings. And Kyle Eddings, it's pleased to have you here. He's the founder and CEO of New Wave Offshore Energy, and he has almost 20 years in the DP assurance space, working with high risks managing. And he leads a company that supports some of the most complex offshore projects globally. New Wave has been involved in major developments in the industry as Guyana with their projects with Exxon. And now New Wave just won Orca project for Shell. It's a subsea project. And the risk involved are very high.
Yep, definitely.
And also the financial risk, very, very high too. Kyle, it's a great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
I would like to thank you and ask you to introduce yourself, talk about your background. How did you start your career in the offshore industry, and how did you open the new wave, all everything that you passed to achieve this position here?
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So let's see, I studied physics many years ago in Illinois, and in Illinois, if you know America, Illinois is right in the middle. So there's no oceans, nothing nearby. So having a marine background from childhood was not something I would have had. It was just cornfields as far as the eye could see. So I studied physics, and while I was studying, I met the owner of a company in Houston. A company is called Versabar, and he asked me to come down and potentially work for his company. So I came down, was introduced to what they did, which at the time was offshore heavy lifting systems. So after college, I went down there, worked with their heavy lifting group, and then I got pulled into the marine group when they decided to design and build a DP3 heavy lift vessel, which was really exciting for me. So anyways, I got involved in the design side, and then through construction, I spent, I think, 9 months in a hotel, building the vessel, and then I sailed with the vessel through DP proving trials, through the FMEA trials and all the testing. And I was really interested in what we were doing there to test the system to make sure that, for a DP3 boat, also similar with a DP2 boat, and those are classifications for different types of vessels, dynamic positioning systems, how they analyzed it, how we tested it to make sure that, if anything failed on the boat, that it wouldn't go, black. We wouldn't black out.
How old was you at the time?
At that time, I was probably, for that project, let's see, probably 25 years old, around there. So a couple of years out of college, and so very exciting for me because I had never sailed. It was completely new. So I got pulled into that vessel. The design, I mean, it was just, it's something huge, something that there wouldn't be anything comparable like that from where I'm from, which is a very small farm town in Illinois. And so sailed with a vessel as kind of a support engineer for 3 years. I basically moved out of my apartment year 2 because of how often we were offshore. And I basically stayed on the housing vessel for 9 months. So I was basically living on a ship. I really enjoyed it. I was 25, no wife at the time. So of course you could spend as much time offshore as you want. I couldn't get away
Yeah,
with that
that's true.
today.
When you're young,
When you're young, you can do those
yeah,
things.
you can
So
do those things.
it was great. I loved being offshore, loved the whole, loved all of it. And Noble Denton, which is DNV now, had written our FMEA improving trials, so failure modes and effects analysis. So those documents I was talking about, and it was really interesting to me, what was going on there with the analysis and the testing. It kind of got my physics brain moving again because, I'm offshore, we're doing operations, which is very interesting, but the technical side of things, I wasn't too heavily involved in because I wasn't doing the design reviews and things like that. So what Noble Denton was doing, DNV now, was really interesting. So I got a hold of the guys. I said, hey, are you guys hiring? Basically, we had one DP vessel and I wanted to learn so much more. So I was with Versabar for 6 years, and then I went to DNV next, and focused on dynamic positioning. So at the time, DNV had a great, it was Noble Denton at the time, now it's DNV. They had a great training program for writing FMEAs, writing proving trials, how to test ships and all that. And 2011, 2012, around that time is where I started. There was a lot of shipbuilding going on. So Hornbeck Offshore was building all their Hausmax boats at the time, and we had that contract. So we were in their shipyard every 6 weeks doing proving trials with a new ship.
Do you have an
And
idea how many ships did you test?
I mean, a couple hundred over the past, 15 to 18 years. I think probably at least 300 boats that I've done for DP trials, and or that I've been on for different types of audits and things like that. So it's been a wide range of boats from, new build drill ships to, small tugs that have DP systems and everything in between. So during that time, I was there at Noble Denton for 3 years. We did all types of things, all types of new vessels, all types of older vessels. A lot of rules were changing at the time. So it was really an exciting time to be in that industry and with Noble Denton, who was really pioneering a lot of, the way we do analysis right now. So it was a good time. So it was, like I said, I was there for 3 years, and then I got a call from another company, Braemar, and I think I was in Turkey when I took the call with the manager. And I don't think I've told many people this story at all, but had the call, and I had initially had a call with another lady who ended up being my manager. But I had a call with this manager. We did not get along at all. And I called the lady and said, I can't take this job. It's not going to happen. And she said, no, come in the office. Let's talk. So ended up coming in, and over the course of, I think, 2 months, we came to an agreement, and I left Noble Denton and started at Braemar, and we worked everything out, me and the other manager. But we got along after that. But anyway, so I ran Braemar's DP group globally, and then the Marine Warranty group in the Americas region. I did that for about 3 years, and then I left and started New Wave. The idea with New Wave was, Braemar is now part of a company called ABL, which is a very big, conglomerate of.
Was Braemar Log, and then they get together and
Yeah, so there was
merge
a company called
as ABL.
Aqualis, a company called Braemar, a company called LOC, and those were all marine assurance companies on their own, and they came together to form a big company, ABL. And then Noble Denton is now a part of DNV, which is a very big company as well. And there's another company out there, Global Maritime, also a very big company. So I noticed that, basically there's 3 big marine assurance companies at the time that I left, and they were all, funded by VC money and things like that. And when VC money comes in, and you have a lot of money and you have investors, you're looking at, how can I make the most money here?
Mhm.
And the best way to make that money is, of course, you charge the same, but you find cheaper people to do it. So quality goes down. And I was seeing this kind of as an industry issue where quality was kind of going down. And I said, I don't think it has to be like this. I think I can do a better job. So I left in 2018 to try to do a better job, and I feel like we've done a better job since then. So it's been about 8 years now. It's 2026. So we've grown, and I know you mentioned, Shell and Exxon, and those have been exciting projects that we've won in the last couple of years. Very big projects, but we've grown into a full a full suite marine assurance company. So we do marine warranty work, dynamic positioning assurance work, marine assurance, specialized audits, and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's
I
been a fun
read
journey.
one Brazilian book called Inflection Points.
Okay.
And at the book, he put on graph showing that the inflection points is the points that you change mind, you change mindset. And I could follow that you start as DP, very technical, and then change mindset, one inflection point. And then went to Marine Warrant Survey.
Yep.
And then another inflection point, a businessman. How can you pronounce these for people? These conscience that you get. See?
Yeah. As in, like, when was my inflection point, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I've had a full inflection point yet. I'm trying to keep up with the inflection that's happening.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's I really enjoy DP assurance, and I still enjoy DP assurance, and I try to get engaged in the DP assurance still, even though I'm running a company and we have a lot of people going and doing the work and writing the analysis and doing the trials. And so it's kind of taken, I guess, the team that I've hired we have a fabulous team. You're part of that team.
Mm-hmm.
The team has kind of helped me move me to, you mentioned a businessman, move me into that businessman position. And it's very difficult to, as an engineer, first of all, it's difficult for most engineers to have conversations.
Yeah, that is true.
And so I think that was something that I noticed, going over the years, whether I was at Noble Denton or Braemar and even now, going to conferences, we're all very technical and we love to talk about technical things. But getting us outside of that and talking to other people, and that ends up being business development. So it's hard for engineering types to get into business development because you have to have soft skills. My wife's very good at soft skills, and Megan's good at that. And so I've learned a lot of things from her on how to have those soft skills. But I also learned early on that I was able to have conversations with other people, and that might have to do. I bartended through college, so people skills was something that I had, which I think is good. And so I had the technical aspect and I had the people skills. And I think pairing those together as you grow, allows you to become a businessman. I don't think of myself as a businessman, but I guess I must be owning a business, but I don't think of myself that way. But I think the team is helping me to get there, really. So I think there's probably an inflection that has happened, and I'm trying to realize that it has happened.
Yeah.
So.
And that's wonderful what you just talk, the technical side and the soft skills, the hard skills and the soft skills. If you just get the hard skills, it's a technical thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I passed through plenty different courses. Have you read that book, Dale Carnegie?
Oh, I know.
How to Make Friends and Influence People?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I read that book 20 times. And I made a course, 3 months course. It just changed me a lot.
Yeah.
And also I passed through other immersions to get me to grow in these soft skills. For me, it was very difficult too. And of course, giving class also helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Communication and read people. When I'm teaching, I can see the faces and the eyes. I already know the grade that they're gonna take. This is gonna have a problem. Okay, this will pass. Okay, this is smart, but it's lazy. But this is,
Yeah.
And then you start reading the eyes and in the small changing of how can I say, body language.
Yeah.
And this helps a lot. I started teaching 2014.
Okay.
But the first time, God, I think when you start to feel butterflies here, it's very good because it makes you, the pressure makes you grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm always looking for this butterfly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In the job side, of course. Yeah. That's wonderful to hear that the soft skills and the hard skills get together, and then and give a different mind to build on business, and also with a team that support you, have plans.
Yeah. it's a big
support.
part of it, and I think people don't put enough emphasis on the soft skills, and I know I never did. But I
Yeah,
also didn't, as an engineer, and in the engineering groups, there's not much soft there. So when you sit down with another engineer, and it could be business development or something else, but you sit down and have a chat with an engineer, it's funny. A guy called me the other day about some work, and I was actually surprised that as soon as he picked up the call, we were talking about work like that. And I'm starting to get used to like the hello, how are you? How's your family? I know this guy's building a house near us. And I kind of wanted to ask him those questions, which is something I never would have done in the past. And so, but he went straight to work, and I was a little disappointed because I was like, oh man, I actually wanted to learn about this guy. But in the past, that's what it was, open the phone, you're on a video conference, or you go into the room, and you can literally get everything out of an engineering talk in 10 minutes. We know what we want to chat about, we get right to it, and then we're done.
I was like this too. I think I could feel a lot when I start changing mails with Megan, specifically with Megan,
Yeah.
because we change message like this. No, good morning. I used to do no good morning, no something, and just give the
Just
topic.
jump right in. Yeah.
Okay, give me the answer. Give me,
Yeah.
we are like this. And when she started sending mails to me, have a wonderful day, and I hope you are doing well.
Yeah.
And so, okay. And then I start paying more attention in changing mails and how this is important to connect people.
Yeah.
And I could see the development on my relationships after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, my husband, he is very soft skills.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And he used to give me feedback. I ask. I love feedbacks.
Yep.
Exactly to treat exactly what I need to treat to improve.
Yeah.
And he always give me feedback like this, but sometimes I forget.
Yeah,
because
of
it's
course.
already on unconscious side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's true. You have a very, very strong DP side and also a very strong marine warrant survey side. From both sides, DP and marine warrant survey, could you explain first on DP, what do you think that's most critical that could cause huge incidents and financial problems that could, for example, broken company?
Sure. Yeah. I think, when we talk about DP incidents, and what causes them, a lot of people, and this is what we'll talk about it now, is they look at, is it the equipment we're worried about, or is it the people that we're worried about? Are the systems going to go down first, or are the people going to break down? And I'd say in my years of DP assurance, what I've seen that scares me the most, and what I believe is the most risky, is the people side of things. And it's not necessarily the people operating or the people reviewing. It's the fact that there are bad apples in these bunches, and it's usually on the people side. It could be a bad DPO, it could be a bad DP assurance practitioner, it could be a bad owner of a vessel that wants to hide something. And I would say, the systems will slowly work themselves out. You design a system, and of course a human designs that system, and there's going to be flaws. And so we go and do proving trials. We do an FMEA first. So we write down everything we think in terms of the system and how it's going to perform when we start pulling wires or when things start failing. So we do the analysis, and then we write a test procedure, proving trials, on how we're going to test that system. So we do that, and we do that once, and inevitably things get missed. So if a vessel was built in 2012, from now, you've got an annual trial every year, and and then every 5 years you redo the proving trial. So hopefully by now you've sorted out that there are issues in this vessel, and you fix them over the years, and you would think so. But still, we go offshore and we do annual trials, and we say, we found something here, we found something here. How did that happen, right? And more than likely, those things happened because people allowed them to happen. And we don't know who it was that allowed them over the years. And it could be many things, and we can talk about a few different ways and a few different things that I've seen, I think. And just kind of shooting, from memory, an old memory I have is we went offshore on a boat. I went offshore, was doing annual trials. We pulled a wire on a thruster. It went to 100%. And of course, that's not supposed to happen. So you pull the wire on a thruster should fail, or at least fail as set, depending on the year, but it should never go to 100%. So it did. And I said, guys, we've got to fix this. And this was somewhere in my career where I was kind of a, independent consultant. So I wasn't working for any of the companies that I had mentioned before. And the owner came back to us and said, oh, well, you just pulled the wrong wire. You got to change the test. And I said, well, I'm not doing that. Obviously, it doesn't matter where the failure was or which wire I pulled. If I pull a wire and it goes at 100%, the design is wrong, basically. But the owner of the vessel knew that, and he wanted to change the test. So I said, absolutely not. Won't change the test. I couldn't put my name on something that I knew was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of carried that. I have carried that throughout, which has been a good thing for me. And then sometimes a company like that will say, okay, well, we don't want to work with Kyle again because he won't change tests, that we, he won't hide things from us. So with that situation, there was an owner that I don't know what happened after that, because I said, I won't sign my name to this. And they said, okay, we'll find someone else to do the trials. So I don't know what happened. I washed my hands of it. But in my opinion, that vessel is still out there, and they probably changed that test so that when you pull the wire, it fails, and that cable is sitting there waiting to be pulled by somebody, and potentially the vessel will take off again. And so it's things like that, from where we have some bad apples on the owner's side, where owners,
Mm-hmm.
they know they have issues with their vessels, but they hide them. And not all owners, but there's a whole bunch of vessel owners, and there's a couple of people out there. And over the years, we kind of know which vessel owners may be doing things like that, right? But it also comes down to, there's DP practitioners, and most of us are all good apples. We all know each other. It's a very, very small group of people
Yes.
that we know. So we all know each other, and we all know who the bad apples are, if you will, that might do something like that and change the test.
And it's wonderful how the technical sides and the industry understanding is going together.
Yeah.
Because in the past, even the industry, the culture was poor.
Yeah.
And even nowadays that we have good standards in the industry, it's still some companies with a poor DP culture.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to level up.
Yeah.
And this is a matter of time.
It is. I think it's a misunderstanding as well. I think dynamic positioning is one of these black boxes where
Black box
people
is
say
complex.
it's DP system, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Just do the trials and be done with it.
Yes,
And
that's true.
if we come up with an issue, we find a system that's wrong, and they say, look, this vessel's 10 years old, how can it be wrong? Well, somehow it's been swept under the rug, and now we've found it, and we have to fix it. It might cost some money, and people don't want to fix it sometimes. And I think it's tough for a company culture to change. So when you have a boat owner that has done something, the same way, and all of a sudden you're coming along and saying, we need to change the systems to make them safer. Safer sounds good. More money does not sound good. People don't want to spend the money all the time. They want to make things safer, but they don't want to spend the money. So it's difficult, but we have seen companies change their culture over the years, and we have seen, I think, DP
Their
incidents,
development. Yeah.
DP incidents do happen. Some get swept under the rug. We're supposed to report them to IMCA, and that doesn't always happen. And I've seen some strange incidents, and it's actually good to see the incidents, because when you go on board a vessel and you're pulling wires and you get the question, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? That will never happen. And you can say, actually, it will happen. I've seen that happen before. And people are like, wow, I didn't know that. But overseeing, and I think, a couple hundred DP trials, you see strange things happen, and you see a lot. And it's good to have that experience, because you can share that with other people. And I think that lessons learned is something else that I was thinking this morning. There's another thing in terms of company culture, but also just the culture of people in the DP community. There are a lot of lessons that can be shared, and so I like to share lessons. I know you like to share lessons. Most of
Yes.
the people in the groups like to share lessons, but then again, there's a lot of people that don't like to share. And I
Yes, that's
think
true.
the more we share, the more we get out, to the conferences and to things like this
Yeah,
to share. Like,
more we
look,
level up the vision
yeah, it helps everybody.
and helps everybody. I
Yeah.
remember during our uh, time this week, we passed through many meetings,
Yeah,
and you mentioned two times that were in my head. One, it was about not just the design, but something that the crew can plug out
yeah,
in different places.
yeah,
And as you already experienced that, this could cause a fail.
yeah,
So sometimes it's not the design,
100%.
as
Yeah,
the crew that was there connect one cable, one redundant group to the other, and who cause a fail.
yeah,
Could you pass this experience?
sure. Yeah, it's I call them crafty engineers, which it's good to have smart engineers on board. But I think what I've seen in the past is, and we'll talk about a ship with two bow thrusters, and I think we talked this week about a company that lost both bow thrusters at once, and on a DP2 vessel, DP3 vessel, if you've only got two bow thrusters, you're only supposed to lose one at a time. And the way that happens is, not having cross connections. And I guess if we're on video right now, we could look at it this way. So if I've got two bow thrusters, um, they should be powered from the A side and powered from the B side, and all the support systems should be the same way, so that there's a redundancy split. And I think what I looked at on this one, and what probably happened, is this thruster might have gone down at some point in time because of a cooling water system or something like that. And the whole thruster was down. They said we need to get this back online, and maybe a power supply on the 24-volt side had died. And so a crafty engineer said, well, look, I've got a 24-volt supply over here. Let me just run a cable over here and get it going. And we'll write this down later, and we'll make sure it's in the papers, and we'll update things, and we'll fix this cross connection later. Well, now I've got both of my thrusters up. I'm going to say, okay, guys, let's go. And that's what happens. They don't tell anybody, and they say, I've got other things to do, and they completely forget about it. And then later on, this system goes down, and this system is powering a support system on this side now, and we forgot about it. And so this cooling water pump now goes down because this whole system is down, and you've got this cross connection here. And so now you lose both your bow thrusters, right? And these things happen. We've seen this in analysis and in incident reviews. And I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
You
Probably this is a good engineer that know how to deal, but
he got something up back and running.
yeah, let's put
but-
this running. But he didn't have an idea about the DP philosophy.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then the training industry starts training engineers since 2022, 23
Yeah.
to give them an overview of the DP philosophy.
Yeah, and I think MTS has a paper on cross connections, and cross connections we're here in Brazil right now. Cross connections, Petrobras is heavy on
Yes.
analyzing, finding cross connections because of things like this.
Yes, true.
And a lot of cross connections have either crept into design, or they've been part of initial design. And a lot of times that's because people say, well, look, I've got this system. I don't want the system to die. So I'm going to connect it here. I'm going to connect it here. And all of a sudden you look at a system and you're like, why is this system connected to all these other ones?
We see
like,
the
well,
system
if this
alive,
goes-
but a pro connection.
Yeah. If this one goes down, then this system will keep it up. Well, we've cross connected everything. So we're introducing, failure pathways that go all over the place. And so a lot of times I'll get up on a whiteboard and we'll start
Teaching
things.
teaching things,
and-
important things. Also,
Yeah.
during our meetings, you mentioned about a strategic way to test and look for cross connections.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just simply failing the side and having a look at the other side. Whether or not it's looking at screens, if there's a lot of automation, then a lot of times it's easier to find that. We fail one side and we look, has anything failed on the other side? It's very, very easy test to do. Sometimes not so easy as well.
Sometimes do not
So-
appear an alarm.
Exactly.
The way
Sometimes
that I
the alarm's
used to
not there.
test, I shut, for example, to 220 and then I go to 4040,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go to 690,
Yep.
and observe if some alarm appear in the other side.
On the other side.
So if,
Yeah.
if you test port side and one alarm appear in starboard side,
Yeah, we need to
light.
look into this.
Yeah, you need to look at that.
Yeah.
But even sometimes we can try fail one side and nothing will appear.
Yeah.
And it's still there is
And it's
something
still,
there.
it's still something's
It's
failed.
a hidden thing, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times, you do that and you say, well, hey, what's going on over here? Let's look at it. And you might have an engineer that knows what's going on, or a captain that, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. No, we need to worry about this,
Yes.
because a lot of times, and I'd say more often than not, the crew knows what the issues are already when you come on board. And that's if they're hiding some things. Sometimes they don't know, but a lot of times they do know what the issues are. And when we run 100% endurance tests on engines and thrusters, you can always tell if you're going to pass immediately when you bring the test up. If an engineer gets twitchy, or starts asking questions about the test, then it's not going to pass. But I've had an engineer, hey, we're going to test the thrusters. This was on a smaller tug. To 100%, and he just went over to the sticks. He said, no problem. Very comfortable in his boat. He knows how it's going to operate. He doesn't have a problem whatsoever. But a lot of times you say, okay, we're going to do 100% tests, and everybody's been prepared for it. You guys have had the trials program for the last month. Oh well, maybe we should do it a little differently, or we can't do this right now. And a lot of times there's really no reason to test because that test is going to fail. So it's like, guys, tell me what's going on with the engine. Maybe you guys need to fix it. Well, it's due for its overhaul, or it's overdue by a couple hundred hours, and it's getting hot. And it's like, okay, well, do you want to test it now, or do you want to and fail, or you want to just take the time and fix it, and then we'll test it when it's done, and that happens a lot.
No, the SDP system, the old Kongsberg,
the old system,
before Capos, the hardware is by cards.
Yep.
So there is no replace for this card.
Correct. Yeah.
How to test that?
It's tough because a lot of times you're testing and the card goes down, and then you're in trouble. Yeah.
And it's trouble. Sometimes the company spends 3 months to find some.
Yeah, they're looking on eBay for spares.
Yes. So it's always good to keep spares on board.
It is. Keep spares on board.
Yes.
Yeah, especially for the old systems.
Yes.
And thankfully, I mean, I was on a boat last year, and the year before, actually, they had SDP, and they just upgraded everything.
Yeah.
Which
it's much better, the capable
much better.
system. Yeah. Regarding to marine warrant survey, I start study a bit more about marine warrant survey since I joined New Wave.
Yeah.
I think it will be very good if you explain the topics and the step-by-step about inspections.
Sure. Just the kind of the process, if you will. So there's a lot of different aspects of marine warranty survey, but what we've been specializing on is large offshore construction projects. And you mentioned 2 FPSOs that we're engaged with right now. So the Orca development for Shell here, we just won that project, which is exciting for us. And then the Whiptail project in Guyana for ExxonMobil, and those are both FPSO installations. And we're doing the SURF scope, which is subsea umbilicals, risers, and flow lines. So basically everything underwater. And we're doing the marine warranty scope around the SURF installation of all those flow lines and things like that. So very complicated stuff, but there's 2 aspects of these projects. And one is the hull side, where you're building the hull, the FPSO hull, of course, in Asia, and there's a whole marine warranty aspect around that. And then there's a surf scope once the FPSO gets installed or storm safe, so it's all moored up, and connecting risers and flow lines, and then the installation of all the risers and flow lines beforehand. And we're doing the surf scope MWS. So kind of complicated. There's a lot going on there. But we're doing the surf. Another MWS company is actually doing the hull side. And it's split because ExxonMobil has a scope with their insurance, where they're basically taking the insurance for the surf scope, and then the person the company putting that hull together, which for this one is a company called SBM. They have the insurance for that, so that's under their remit. So the Exxon side for Whiptail is what we're doing, and what that entails. And I'm not an accredited marine warranty surveyor. DP is definitely my strong point, but we do run that in our business. So I just want to say that in case everybody thinks I'm an expert marine warranty surveyor here. But so the aspect, there's a lot of things we do here, and I'll just kind of go through basically the scopes of work. So we do engineering review. So we look at all of the installation procedures, a lot of calculations for installation, and we do an engineering review where we have a few specialists on surf installation, naval architects, and they review all of those engineering scopes for the installation. For this specific project, I think it's something like 300 documents. I'm probably wrong on that, but it's something around there. So we do an engineering review, and we sign off on all those. If there's issues or we find some things that maybe the engineer wasn't thinking about, we'll raise it up. A lot of times when we're looking at vessels, for example, and we're looking at the analysis around the vessels, it's different waves, it's different current, and things like that. Guyana gets very high currents. So going back to the DP side, when we're reviewing vessels and their DP capability, we want to look at worst case failure. So how are they going to operate on the worst case failure? And then what are the currents we're going to see that they're potentially actually operating? And so a lot of times we'll get DP capability plots for like a knot of current, and we know that the current can get up to 3.5, sometimes 4 knots very quickly in Guyana. So we always ask, hey, look, we'd like to see how your vessel will actually be operating in the waters for the region that we're at. So it's more the DP assurance side, but on the marine warranty side, we're reviewing all the installation drawings and the procedures, and then we're attending all the Haz ID meetings, risk assessments, and things like that from a marine warranty standpoint. Then we're doing attendance for loadouts, so loadouts of all the pipes and things like that are going offshore and being installed. We're doing suitability surveys, which is a kind of a higher level review than a very specific DP review, but it's more of a suitability survey for the vessel and is it suitable to do these installations. So we do quite a few of those, but pretty much the whole marine spread, we're doing suitability surveys on all the vessels involved. And then we do this is up to the underwriter, the insurance provider basically comes to an agreement with ExxonMobil on the marine warranty scope of work. And then for these projects, we do what's called a first in series. So the first gas injection pipeline, the first lay of the gas injection pipeline, we have someone offshore actually watching everything happen, and they sign what's called a certificate of approval, where they go through and they say, okay, here's all the engineering documents that have been reviewed and approved from our side. Everything is, per what it's supposed to be, how it's laid out on there. And they sign the certificate of approval saying it's okay to go ahead. And so we do the gas injection pipeline, first water injection pipeline, first umbilical, and then some other equipment that's installed. But basically it's engineering review. We do suitability survey on the boats, onshore loadouts. We're involved in Haz IDs, risk assessments, and then at the end there, the installation of the actual installation. So for the FPSOs, it's about a 3-year process. We start with engineering review
More
and then
complex.
And then we go from there. So that's kind of a very high level view. Marine warranty is a little more complicated than DP. DP is just
DP is not. I don't know if because of the background.
Yeah.
Because DP is also a complex system, but marine warranty is quite new and it's very, very interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you and I have been doing DP for quite a long time. So for us, I think it's more simple to think of DP.
We can see DP as a simple thing, but when we go to the industry view, marine warranty survey, all the stakeholders involved,
it's quite a web.
There is no DP side there.
Yeah.
There is no DP side. So I think this is a huge differential.
Yeah.
For New Wave too.
Oh, it is. Yeah. We've enjoyed moving into the marine warranty space over the last 4 years. Of course, when we started, when I started in 2018, I just started the company basically doing DP assurance. And then we moved into, specialized audits. We started sending client reps offshore for oversight. And then we moved into marine warranty about 4 years ago. And it's, you talked about inflection points earlier. And I think that final, MWS, adding that to our offering was a huge inflection point for us. And it's been interesting because we're not one of the big three, we call them, right? But I had worked in the past with 2 out of 3 of those companies, so I understand the way they work. And it's nice to be competing in that field against them now, and we're friendly competitors. We know each other, and
Yes.
And they all have good people. But it's been an inflection point for us for sure to add that. And so now we do the DP side, we do the marine assurance side, the marine warranty side, client reps. We do quite a bit of other smaller specialist things, but it's fun, and it's been fun to grow. And so it's also it's very nice to be here. We just set up an office here in Rio as our second office, and
Yes,
and
it's wonderful.
it's
Yes.
very, very
A lot of
exciting.
job.
So yeah,
Yes,
a lot here.
a lot of work, and this is amazing how we are growing.
Yeah.
And even me, I think I passed through 100 inflection points since I joined Wave.
Yeah.
Yes. On the technical side, if you could choose one lesson learned, the most important for you,
On the technical side, the most important lesson learned,
lesson learned.
never sign something you don't trust. That's what I would say. And I mean that from a technical standpoint, not necessarily, don't sign a contract you don't trust. But I'd say throughout my career, I've been asked to sign things, DP things that I didn't trust. Whether it's, can you change this finding from an A to a B? No, I can't.
Mhm.
Can you change this test for us? No, I can't. There's
Mhm.
you get a lot of pressure offshore.
Yes, a lot of pressure, for
An
sure.
owner comes to you, and sometimes it's the owner of the company comes to you and says, "Look, we're going to get kicked off charter if they find out that we have an A finding." I was hired to find A findings, and I found one, and you probably knew you had an A finding here. And when you say that, a lot of times you get eyes on the floor because they do know that what they've been hiding. And unfortunately, I've found a lot of things, fortunately and unfortunately, maybe, that people have hidden. And I've been asked to change that and please, sign that this is okay. And I don't do that. That's gotten me blackballed from a couple companies where I can't do DP assurance with them anymore. But I actually feel good about that because I wouldn't want to work with a company that doesn't want to do things right.
Yeah, that's right.
So I would say from a technical aspect, if it doesn't feel right inside, then something is wrong and you shouldn't be putting your name to it, So, and you may lose that business in that short time frame. But if you sign your name to something like that is wrong, at some point in time, that's going to come back and haunt you.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say if you can't lay your head on the pillow at night and feel comfortable going to sleep with what you've done, then
That's
I know
true.
that's not a purely technical answer, but I'd say the biggest lesson learned from all of the things I've seen since I started in the marine assurance world is just be honest.
Yes.
Just be honest. That's the biggest thing.
Good thing. And if you could give an advice for young people, for the new alpha workforce that probably is watching,
go offshore. Go offshore. It's interesting. I still go offshore. I actually love going offshore, and there's so many people that don't understand that. Why do you want to go offshore? Why do you enjoy it? And there's something about being at sea, of course. It's kind of majestic, if you will. But also just offshore, when you're offshore working, whatever it is that you're doing, the amount of experience that you're gaining is incredible. And I think young people,
it's incredible.
Young people don't see that, and I hear the younger people when they are offshore, I don't want to be here, where's my Wi-Fi password? If you get off the helicopter, the first thing, what's my Wi-Fi? I need the Wi-Fi, I need to get connected. And younger people have a hard time being offshore because you're not as connected. I would say Wi-Fi is pretty good these days offshore,
Yes.
which is good. But I would say to younger people, just it's a job that's outside your comfort zone for sure. But there's a lot of people that just want to move into that office and have that office and, be designing or managing or running things that are offshore, but they don't have the experience. And you can't learn it unless you do it. You just have to go offshore and do it. So I'd say it's a huge opportunity the young people have to either, go to a merchant mariner academy, or if you have a technical background or an engineering background. I mean, I studied physics, it wasn't engineering. But I ended up offshore and I wanted to go offshore and I really enjoyed my time offshore. And I don't go offshore too often anymore, but when I get the chance, I do go and I still do audits and things like that. But yeah, to younger people, I would say if you can find a way to get out of your comfort zone, go offshore, find a job offshore, and get that experience, because that experience is going to it's going to propel you so much further. If you can look at a problem on paper and understand offshore what it looks like, whether it's a heavy lift or anything offshore, I just tell people get out there. I tell kids that are in high school looking for something to do, they don't know what they want to study in college. Maybe go to a merchant marine academy and sail for a while. You get the opportunity to sail around the world. You see the world. I enjoy it, and I think if the younger people gave it more, just thought outside the box a little more, I think they'd enjoy it as well. Just getting out there. So
we are a very special group.
It is. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kyle.
Thank you.
It was
Appreciate it.
wonderful
It's been
to
great
hear
to be
you,
here.
and I learn a lot with this talking. And for sure, people learn a lot with this talking too. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.